what surprises you more, that Dallas would actually trade Parsons or that the Packers would be the one to go get him?
Dallas trading him probably. But to be honest with you, I don't feel like usually when there's a blockbuster trade here, I'm like, oh, like one side won this thing. I don't really feel good about this. And Hayes, I know you're a Packers guy, and I'll have my reasoning. I obviously love Mike. I think he's a tremendous player. But right now, I'm leaning towards if I had to pick who won this one, and we'll see. So it sounds like it's Kenny Clark.
Kenny Clark and two first-rounders.
I'd probably say Dallas.
You're kidding me. Based on what?
Okay, hey, hear me out on this. First off, we got to see, a lot of times these numbers get crazily over-reported. We don't actually know the contract. Okay, so what will happen depends who leaked, whoever the leak is, if it's the agent side, they'll juice the numbers, be like, look at the deal that I signed.
Right.
So I look at the Packers right now, and I say, so you've got Love, who's making, he had a signing bonus of 75. His annual salary is $55 million a year. Jordan Love here,
yep.
Which is a great signing. I'm not saying that. But now you have Micah as well. Is the average 44?
Yeah, it's higher, 47 maybe, yeah.
So we've got $100 million tied up in two guys, okay? And I get they're stars. I get that, Hayes. But now let's keep going here. Right now, and I think that division is sick. I have a lot of praise for the NFC North. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of praise for it, okay? But right now, the top dog in the NFC North until they're dethroned is the Detroit Lions. And you know what the Detroit Lions have? Even though Ragnow retired, they got a phenomenal offensive line, and they got two running backs. They're absolute stars. I think Montgomery gets overshadowed because Jahmyr Gibbs is that good. He's one of the best backs in the league, in my opinion.
Yes, he is.
And you get a guy in here, Micah Parsons, who is not great against the run. So why I say, and he's a tremendous, maybe, top three pass rushers in the league. You can say he's number one. I put Myles Garrett up there, T.J. Watt's up there. There's a couple other guys that are in the combo, obviously, but Micah's right there. But Micah Parsons is not known as a very dominant run defender. I'm not saying he's bad, but he's nowhere near the prowess he has as a pass rusher. So now all of a sudden I'm sitting here and I'm like, dude, you got to get a guy on the field that's got to help stop Gibbs and Montgomery. And is Micah that guy? For $47 million? I don't. And you've already tied up 55 in a quarterback? And then the last thing I'll say, I like the Packers. And to be honest with you, as you guys know, I would prefer that Minnesota or Green Bay wins that division as a personal thing.
Right.
But my last thing here is also, I always revert back to the year that we won in Seattle. Okay, and we did have a ton of stars, Hayes. But the thing about it was a lot of those stars were on rookie deals. Sherman was young. Cam Chancellor was young. Earl was younger. Russ obviously was on a rookie deal. And what I felt hurt us later on, we were still a very good team, but when it came time to get those guys paid, the veteran guys of Max Unger, Red Bryant, maybe not the household name, Brandon Mebane, the guys that were tremendous players, but maybe not all pros, but were kind of the backbone of the team, we had to replace with rookies. So, again, I don't hate the move for Green Bay. You obviously got an absolute star in Micah, but I think there's going to be a lot of questions on this. And I haven't even gotten to the fact that this is the same guy that was lying down on a medical table, not paying attention to his teammates 2 weeks ago. I don't love it as much for Green Bay as I think maybe the sticker shock has for a lot of Packers fans right now. I'm sorry, Packers fans. Yeah. Listen, I don't mean to burst your bubble, but I don't love it.
Oh, I do. I love it. And listen, a lot of it is historical. I understand. And every era is different. Every player is different. The cap's different. But they went out and got Reggie White back in the 90s. We saw what happened. They went out and got Charles Woodson. I hear you. Reggie's one of the two or three best defensive. Listen, he plays a similar position. Does he not pass rush? Reggie's the king. Reggie's the king. I get it.
Frankie, stop this guy.
Reggie's the king.
He's too happy right now, man.
But Parsons is look at the numbers, okay? We've seen these tweets out there a bunch, but the defense, statistical defense, when Parsons is on the line, is on the field compared to when he's not in Dallas, it was outrageous. And he's 26 years old. Yes, you're paying him a lot, but you're paying for his prime. You're not paying a guy who's 30, 31, 32. and you've paid Jordan Love, who's also the same age. So if you're going to spend money, I'd want it on a 26-year-old quarterback and a 26-year-old pass rusher. They're not spending it on a running back and a left, in a tight end or something. It's your quarterback and your pass rusher. That's where the money should be going. So I actually think it's appropriate. I get it's a ton of money, and you got to pay the piper to get him. Clark, they were going to walk after this year anyway. His deal was up. He's getting up there in 8. There's your interior lineman, though, that is going to try to stop Gibbs or Montgomery or whatever, and he's going the other way. But you still have Rashawn Gary. So you have Gary on one side, and you got Parsons on the other. That's lethal, man. That's nasty.
Dynamic edge rush. Listen, Hayes, I'm not disagreeing with you on any of those points, minus the Reggie White comparison.
Yes,
I agree with all of that.
Right.
Okay, I agree with all of that. We'll see how it plays out. Again, I get the Kenny Clark thing from a business side, but let's not also, 2 first-round picks is potentially a lot of value. Depends on your GM. For Jerry Jones, he'll probably butcher it. But
yes.
that's also a lot of value.
It is. It is for sure. But it should be for a guy like that.
Said, he's a 26-year-old. I just hope that Micah comes with a very, very good attitude. I think if you're a Packers fan right now, that'll tip the scale where you're feeling good. Because, between some of the comments he made last year about Mike McCarthy, some of the things he said on his podcast, some of the behavior, and I get that he's frustrated. I don't think this is stretched by saying how he was acting in the preseason was unprofessional. Okay, and I'm a guy who likes to push the envelope of being unprofessional at times. But this crossed the line.
Yeah.
I just hope that if you're a Packers guy now, Hayes, what I think you'd like to see is a guy that has really bought into that. Because in my opinion, and obviously I'm partial to the Seahawks, but Green Bay is the coolest franchise in the league. Everything about it, where the stadium is, the history of Lambeau, the fact that it's in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
There's so much history there. There's just a lot of unique things. It's a pretty special situation to be in. Not that I've played for the Packers, but I've been to Lambeau and played there many times. There's a lot of things that are cool about that place, and I just hope that he embraces that and really plays hard for that area.
Luke, let's be really short-sighted here, like 2026 and 2027, these next couple of years. Before we know what those picks are going to be, what do you think this does for the Packers in the NFC North? I know it's one hell of a division, but if they get the best version of Micah Parsons, he's engaged, he's upright on the sideline, everything's good, everything's happy. What do you think this does to the North, to the NFC picture, where it's wide open in the NFC?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, to me, at the moment, I would put them for me as their favorites of the NFC North, if everything you said, hypothetically. And the reason being is I do think that there's going to be a transition in Detroit. I still think Detroit will be a phenomenal team either way. But losing Ben Johnson, you'll feel that a bit. But I also think that losing Frank Ragnow, you'll feel that as well. That's just not a guy you can easily replace. And then Minnesota, the season to me is very dependent on J.J. McCarthy. And I'll tell you right now, J.J. McCarthy, if Micah is humming off the edge and Rashawn Gary is humming off the other edge,
good luck, dude.
For anyone, let alone a guy who hasn't played very many snaps in the NFL.
Nightmare fuel.
So I would definitely push, the narrative that they are the team, to beat, so to speak. They were very good last year. They had a lot of good wins. But that division, it's very tight, guys. I said this last year, even with the Bears, I'm not expecting the Bears to win that division, but their roster is low-key loaded as well. If you were to ask me, I know a lot of people think AFC North. If you were to ask me the best division in football, it's no question. It's that NFC North.
Totally agree.
No question for me.
If you kind of look at this from a Cowboys point of view, what are your big takeaways here from the team point of view? If Micah Parsons was acting, if he was acting out of line, okay, guys would probably look at that and say, okay, man, see you later. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. But you think there's guys in that locker room that look at it and say, well, now we're not any closer to winning? Where are the Dallas Cowboys in winning today?
Yes and no. So what I'd say about Dallas right now is I do think the combo of CeeDee Lamb and Pickens is going to be ridiculous. But defensively, it's one of those things where I'm like, I guess, how should I say this? Like, you look at that division, if you're being honest with yourself, are they in the same class as Philadelphia? No. Are they en route to, be a juggernaut with Washington? I would say no. So, like, I'm not a Jerry Jones guy. I don't want to come off as a Jerry Jones guy, but I don't hate this move. And what I'll say from, like, a player's perspective, and I haven't run into anything, to this exact degree, but I have been in some situations where when superstars like Micah, they have issues with, the front office, everybody supports them, everybody on the team, in the locker room, I should say. Mm-hmm. We'll always side with our guys then. But when I saw the whole, like, not paying attention in a preseason game and laying on the table, kind of acting like a kid, that's a tough one for me as an ex-player. And the reason being is, when you're a guy who's the lock to make the team and you're playing in preseason, there are a ton of guys in your roster that are fighting for their lives, and not just their hopes and dreams as an athlete, but it goes beyond what's on the field, especially in that league. There's so much pressure from families and situations. Everyone comes from a different spot. And it's like, I always remember sitting like, yeah, you're having fun on the sideline in the fourth quarter of a preseason game, but you're like supporting the guys that have been grinding all offseason that are fighting tooth and nail to make that last spot. And to have a guy be like, oh, man, I'm just utterly disrespecting this. All of a sudden, instead of talking about, hey, some third-string rookie or couple veteran guy that's barely got a sniff who made a big play, all the media is talking about you sitting on the bench. Like, that is going to really sit poorly with a lot of guys in that locker room, whether they'll say that or not. So I think that when you get to that point where, as a player, you're so frustrated that you don't even give a damn about your own teammates, it's probably a good time to be like, all right, man, let's get this guy out of here and move on.
Yeah, that might have been a misstep by him, but I'm willing to overlook it now that he's in Green Bay. But it wasn't the best look for him, admittedly. But, I mean, obviously it reached a point where both sides realized this wasn't going to work, and Parsons maybe decided, you're just not going to pay me, and I know you're not going to pay me, so I have to find a way to get out. And it was silly and childish and stupid, but ultimately now that he's gone, Kenny Clark's a good player, and he'll step in and play on the line. I'm a little bit surprised that's the guy off the roster that they wanted or that they took, but they did. 2 first-rounders and a defensive tackle who's 29, longest-serving Packer, I believe. But I just don't see how they're going to win this year in Dallas. And I'm not sure they were going to win with Parsons. I didn't have a lot of faith in them anyway. But they're clearly a worse team, clearly. Like, regardless of everything he was doing.
Defensively.
Yeah, like, significantly
I do think that their offense is like, it depends on Dak. Like, if Dak, which is, I'm not the biggest Dak guy, and I don't want to say I hate the guy, but if Dak plays like the contract they gave him, this team will win games. Again, like, with CeeDee Lamb and Pickens, and that's another huge question mark in Pickens and how he's going to behave and how he's going to act. But, like, that's as dynamic of a wide receiver duo as it gets. And theoretically, on paper, you got a $60 million quarterback throwing the football. So, like, I don't think they're going to be garbage offensively. But I don't know. It becomes a bit of a lot of question marks, and that's generally not a good thing.
Well, and especially with the guy at the wheel being Jerry Jones. Like, if
totally.
Put it this way, if the shoe was on the other foot, you'd look at the Packers and say they know something. Like, they saw something, they made a decision. I'm going to have faith in the way that they run their organization. Because it's Dallas and Jerry, you're never going to give them the benefit of the doubt. That, like, maybe this does work out right, but no one sees that happening because Jerry Jones is the guy at the helm. And if it's true that the reason he decided to ultimately make this deal is because he thought he had a handshake deal with Parsons 3 months ago and wouldn't move off that, that's just buffoonery. Like, that's all that is.
That's not how this works.
It's buffoonery.
And you wouldn't be surprised if that's actually the truth.
Exactly.
Based on reporting, it sounds like it is. He's like, I'm not making you another offer because we agreed to something 3 months ago or whatever.